Hey there, everyone. It's GG's Sober Son. July 13th. Before alcoholics come into AA, they are flying blind. But AA gives them a direction beam in the AA program. A directed beam, I guess. Yes. In the AA program. As long as they keep on this beam, the signal of sobriety keeps coming through. If they have a slip, the signal is broken. If they swing off course into drunkenness, the signal stops. Unless they regain the AA directed beam, they are in danger of crashing against the mountain peak of despair. Am I on the beam? And we have that actual on the beam, off the beam I guess diagram that has, like faith is on the beam, fear is off the beam, anger off the beam, like serenity on the beam, that kind of thing. It's a really cool. I'm really kind of, I wouldn't say proud, but I'm glad that the clubhouse has it on the wall. It's a good reference point for sure. But I never understood it to mean a light beam, like a directed beam, like it's described in this reading. I guess I always thought about it as the balance beam, like gymnasts, they're on that, and like in PE in elementary school, they just had one that was kind of lifted up a little bit and you practiced walking across it, yeah, and I never really thought of it as a directed beam. Interesting though. Meditation for the day. Be expectant. Constantly expect better things. Believe that what God has in store for you is better than anything you ever had before. The way to grow happily is to expect better things right up to the end of your life and even beyond that. A good life is a growing, expanding life with ever-widening horizons, an ever greater circle of friends and acquaintances, and an ever greater opportunity for usefulness. Oh, wow, that kind of ties into this prayer of Jabez that I've been praying or committing to praying recently, and it goes like this, and I think it's from Chronicles, the book of Chronicles, the first or second Chronicles, I'm not sure which either. I don't even know if it is Chronicles, but it basically the text goes through all this genealogy, and then suddenly it stops on this guy Jabez, who is more righteous or whatever than all his brothers or something like that. I'm obviously paraphrasing because I don't have it all in front of me right now. But it says he prayed this prayer and God gave him his prayer. And then it goes back to genealogy, and it was just kind of like, what's this all about? And basically, there's a guy who wrote a book called about the prayer of Jabez, who talks about he suggests that basically if you pray this prayer, your sphere of influence will expand. Because this is a prayer that God answers to the affirmative, blesses. And it's funny because for years I prayed for the ability to remember birthdays and stuff like that. I had probably just forgotten my mom's birthday or Mother's Day or something like that, and I thought about how good my grandma was about all her kids and grandkids. I've shared about this before, but then God gave me technology to be able to put a perpetual calendar and to be reminded 2 weeks out. Yes, I have to apply myself in terms of setting all that stuff, making sure that I finish and then I set the appropriate reminders so that I catch birthdays, and and then as I pray this technology, the prayer of Jabez, which goes like this: "Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory or my influence, that your hand would be with me and that you would keep me from evil, that I might avoid pain." And the enlarge the territory or influence, again, I think God gave us technology to where I can be making this video here in small town in Florida and reach the world, possibly. Anyone in the world could, once it's uploaded to YouTube, can watch this, listen to it, respond to it, and we can interact. And so to me, it's just a wonderful it's a wonderful medium. And I've often thought I live in the best time in history. Sometimes I really enjoy thinking about that, and sort of like looking, and this is an aside, I get it, but think about how like if I were in high school looking toward the future, because I was very future minded, I think, even in high school, like what will the future hold. And I think if I could peer in on my life right now, I would be blown away. I would be so excited about what was going to happen in the future. I'm not where I want to be. Thank God I'm not where I was. But by golly, if I were in high school looking toward right now, all the technology that we have available to us and all the possibilities of travel and things like that, it's just amazing. So, prayer for the day. I pray that I may await with complete faith for the next good thing in store for me. I pray that I may always keep an expectant attitude toward life. Well, as I just mentioned, when thinking about the future when I was in high school, I think I was always very optimistic about what the future would hold and the new things that were coming about in terms of technology and just everything about the future, Once I got past a super religious phase where the dogma from the church I was attending at the time in my hometown that talked a lot about the end times and the apocalypse and things like that, which scared me into faith because I didn't want to get left behind for the rapture, or if I were to die, I thought I was going to go to hell. So, all that kind of stuff. A lot of fear. That scared me into faith. It didn't provide a very stable foundation for a lasting and durable faith like AA provides. I think AA, and we're like, hey, keep coming back until we love yourself. We'll love you until you can love yourself. That kind of thing. And when we talk about, hey, if the God of what you've known in the past got you here, then maybe you need to rework your understanding of that God. Or, and yes, some religious people would say this is blasphemous to say, create the God you want. You know, obviously the gotcha God thing doesn't work. So write down some attributes of what a God you could trust and follow and all that. What attributes would that God have? And 9 times out of 10, those are the attributes that anybody would want, 1. And 2 are the attributes of my God. So it's, everybody's seeking the same thing, really. And everybody wants to be loved. And from a place of knowing that you're loved, you can pour out into other people's lives so much more and so much easier with less effort and energy. It just flows, man. They talk about getting into a flow state, you know, some of the new age type. Well, I mean, we talked about it in sports a lot. You know, you get into a flow state where you're relaxed, but you're alert, but you're calm and but energized at the same time. You know, and it, you know, like, for example, and I'm not tooting my own horn. I just know that at one time I got into a flow state, and it was good. You know, and I know that I was good. But the last game of my senior year, my last basketball game of my senior year, I ended up scoring 36 points. And this was before the 3-point line and all that stuff, you know. So, and I was playing center, you know. It wasn't like, you know, I was outside shooting hoops and or had the ball most of the time. I had to rely on my teammates to throw me the ball, kind of thing, and or get a rebound. And they kept fouling me. I made 18 of 20 free throws, you know, because they just kept fouling me, and I was hitting most of my free throws. So at any rate, I say all that to say that, you know, if I'm expectant about the good things, it's easier to get into a flow state. If I'm focused on the negative, my amazing magnifying mind, as it talks about in the chapter on acceptance in the back of the big book, it talks about focusing my amazing magnifying mind on the good things in life. Well, guess what? Those good things grow and grow. And I do believe in a certain level of manifestation, that if I'm focusing on good and wonderful things, I draw that to me, right? And one guy that talks about manifestation, he talks about it emulating the divine. Like, God made us in his image, and if he can manifest the world into creation, maybe we can manifest our own world. Not all aspects, obviously, but because we have a finite mind. But if we're focusing on the good things, and we're focusing on things that can bless people, like things that I could accomplish that could bless other people, then that type of thing is more likely to occur than if I'm just kind of bumbling through life, you know, thinking about what I'm going to eat next or something like that. I mean, obviously those things are important, but they're not the main thing. So keep coming back, y'all. I love you. Look up, aim up, rise up.